Hi everyone, good morning. I hope you're able to hear me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so did you get a chance to look into that how we can capture or how we can handle the exception handling? Yes, so keep trying that one. Okay, so I gave some details at higher level, but if you're not able to do it, then I'll walk you through that, how I have handled. Okay, so in my project, we are not handling in that way. We are doing it in a different way. So wherever we feel there is a chances to have an error, there only we are just keeping it. But that's not the best solution. And even if we are suggesting now, we have to change in all the places. We have to retest it. So many things is going to be happen. So we cannot change the existing framework whenever you want it. Okay. So if it is a brand new, then we can suggest it. So if they ask, even in the interview, when you go for interviews, then you can talk about how you handled exception. So exception handling and which activity is having an error. So those things we can specify. So that's fine. Let me open the data factory or data factory. ADO Bhaskar ADE. Let's launch it. Let's go to Arthur. So from today, I'm going to talk about a new concept. So till now, we have seen activities. From today, I'm going to talk about, of course, that is also is activity. So in order to go for data or data move and transformation, for move and transformation, so we have seen till now is copy activity. So copy activity is used to extract the data or is used to ingest the data from the one source to another source as it is. Mostly we can do it with the copy activity. If I wanted to do the transformation, so as a data engineer, we are going to do two activities. One is data ingestion, as we discussed in the starting sessions, a data ingestion, and second is data transformation. So these two, we are going to do it. Now, till now we have seen this one, and we are going to see how we can talk or how we can do the data transformation from now. We're going to spend some, at least 3 to 4 days, we're going to spend with the data transformation. So there is an activity called data flow activity. Data flow activity is going to help us to do the transformation. So data flow, by using data flow, we can extract the data, we can transform it, and we can load it. Okay, so these three things will be done even as part of the data transformation. And data flow activity is going to run on, this activity is going to run on Spark cluster. So what is a Spark cluster? We'll talk about at the time of Databricks. At this point of time, we just imagine there is some cluster. So cluster means collection of systems. Okay, so it's a runtime environment. Okay, so this data flow is going to run on a Spark cluster where we can have a parallelism. So the job is going to run parallelly. If I have one job which extracts and transforms the data and load the data into target, so that is going to run parallelly. So they designed in the way it is going to support parallelism. Okay. So here we don't need to create a cluster. We don't need to create a cluster. We can just start it. Okay, so try to understand what we are going to do with the data flow. But in my experience, I did not come across to work with the data flow because mostly people used to go for doing a transformation with Databricks. So if they wanted to do the transformation, people used to go for Databricks. So this data transformation can be done by Dataflow and can be done by Databricks. And traditionally, we can also do it by stored procedures. Something happened. So you understand my point, right? So with the stored procedure also we can do it. But stored procedure doing with the stored procedure is not recommended. Doing with the stored procedure is not recommended, and rest of the two are recommended. Okay, but even market is not using this data flow frequently. We are using a Databricks. So we are going to spend enough time with the Databricks, and that is very important for me and for you also. Okay, so data flow is completely user interface. How this data flow came into picture and how Databricks is going to work. So at the time of Apache Spark or at the time of Databricks introduction sessions, we're going to talk about those details. So for now, you just think about it. Your data flow is used to extract, transform, and load the data. Okay. So in order to work with the data flow, we need to create a first data flow. Let me create a data flow here, a new data flow. Once you create a data flow, you need to have a cluster. Without having a cluster, you cannot do your activities. So cluster is required. Here, in order to start the cluster, you can use start or start data flow debug. When you hit on it, you can see a integration runtime with auto resolve. Reason is auto resolve and compute size is small. This is going to be available for an hour if you don't use it. And I'm just going to say hit OK. So it is going to give some a compute for you. So let it create. Takes a minute to set it up. And while doing this practice, you have to be very careful about it because the price is little more. Price will go little high if you practice with the data flow. And this data flow debug is going to be available for 1 hour if you don't use it. Let's say I'm just going to stop at 8 a.m. Just imagine. As soon as you stop practicing with the data flow, make sure to stop this one. Make sure to stop it. If you don't stop it, then it is going to be available from 9 a.m. You just imagine I just stopped it practicing at 8 a.m. but I did not stop this one. So this is going to be stopped automatically after 1 hour. After 1 hour, it is going to stop. But this 1 hour is also going to be charged because it is a cluster. You're using a virtual machines of Microsoft. So because of that reason, you're going to be charged So when you're doing a practice, make sure to stop it if you don't practice with the data flow. Okay. So sometimes you may forget, so you can see some variance in your bill also. So once you practice it, do not practice multiple times with the data flow. Not required. Basically, even market is not using that much in the market. So one time is more enough for practicing this data flow. So I'm going to create one data flow. Let it start. I'm just giving a name of the data flow, df underscore simple pass. So I wanted to pass the data simply I wanted to pass the data from the source to target. You can specify what source you're having. So I'm going to take the source as ADLS is my source. And initially I'm going to take a CSV file that is employee.csv. And I'm going to keep in the same ADLS only within the same account. You can also have a different account. I'm just going to say this one is same employee. It is a folder. Inside folder, it is going to have a part file. We're going to have a part file. Some number will be there. So how exactly it is going to be there? We'll see that. I'm just going to use here data flow. In order to bring the data from one place to other place, we are going to use the data flow. We are extracting and we are loading the data as it is into the target. So I'm not doing the transformation. So if we don't do the transformation, this part we can call it as a simple pass. So simple pass means you are passing the data as it is without doing any changes in the data. Is everyone clear? So if we can do this one, then this will be reused multiple times for different transformations. So without a transformation is known as a simple pass. With the transformation, then we can call it as a transformation. Now let's see how exactly we can do it. Let's add a source. You can see here, add source. So there are two different options are there to go for a data flow. When we're creating a source, when we are creating a source, we have three different options. One is, two different options. One is data set, another is inline. So data set means when we can go for data set is if data is fixed. If data set is fixed, I mean, you're always going to use the same data multiple times. Or let's say, for example, some set of data you're using as part of transformation. This set of data is using in multiple data flows. Let's say a DF1, a DF2, DF3. Like this, I have a 20 data sets. You just imagine as 20 data flows. Across in all 20 data flows, we can use it. If you are going to reuse the data, if you are using the same data, instead of specifying in each and every place, we can create a one data set. We can create a data set, and that data set you can reuse in all the places. In that particular case only, we used to go for the data set. But 90% is we are going to have a different data set for a data flow. So if you required, if you required a separate data set for every data flow mostly, then not recommended to go with the data set. So I have given here a use case when we can go for data set. We already know how we can create a data set as part of your data ingestion. We have seen that. Now we are going to see this inline. If you want to try with this data set, you can try, as we already know how we can create a data set. So I'm going to show you how we can use this inline. This inline is going to be much more flexible to specify the data set. So each and every specific data set, we can specify it. Let's go here. I'm just taking an inline. Let me give the name as SRC employee is my output stream name. And it is asking inline data set type. Inline data set type, there are various types are there here. Azure connectors are available. You just see. And database related connectors. File related connectors. So mostly we have three connectors and generic protocol. One is REST and services apps figures in preview. Asana is preview. But you can have three different major connectors. One is Azure related connectors. Azure data stores are available extensively. And database connectors, Hive, SAP, Snowflake, and SQL Server. And we have to concentrate on the file. Mostly we are going to use the file targets. Avro, common data model, delimited text, delta. So something like this, we have it. So I just wanted to take a delimited text because my source is CSV file. My source is CSV file. Even when you're taking this file delimited text, that is also is part of your Azure only. Okay. That is also is part of Azure. And I'm just going to take, where is that? Yeah. So delimited text. If your data set to type, if you're bringing data, CSV data, then you can take a delimited text. And if you have a Parquet, then you have to choose the Parquet here. And if you have a ORC, then you have to choose the ORC. So inline data set type you have to specify. So that means what type of data you're reading from the source that you need to specify. And then link service is required. We're already having the link service. I'm just going to use. And once you set up this options, once you set up all these things like output stream name, source type, inline data set type, and link service. And then go to the options. So here you are going to specify where exactly your file is available. Where exactly your file is available, you need to specify. So let me check. I have a data files. I have an input. My input is having two files. One is employee.csv and employee.parquet. Both are there. So I'm just going to take employee.csv. So this file is available. You can browse it if you want to browse. Data files, input, employee.csv and hit OK. And my file is having a header. My file is having a header that you have to specify here first row as a header. So these changes you have to make sure that rest of them automatically they're going to set when the moment you choose a delimited text. And we have a wildcard also, but you just keep this one and I'm just going to the projection. So in order to do the data transformation, generally we required column names also. In order to do the transformation, always we required column names are required, right? Without columns, we cannot go for transformation. And columns data types also is required because we're just going to talk to the data. If you want to talk to the data, we require minimum these things. In the projection, we are going to import the schema. Hit on import schema and hit import. So based on the availability of the data in the file, your data factory is going to import the schema and it is going to assign the data types. Even you're taking the data from the file system. Basically, when you take the data from the file system, it takes as a text. Every column will be treated as a text, but your data flow is going to assign the data types. You can see here. So data types are assigned. For employee number, it has taken short data type. So short means integer data type. Ename, string data type. In SQL, we are going to call this as a varchar, and when it comes to the data factory, we're going to call it as a string. And hire date is a data type, and salary is a double, and commission is a string. So this is not perfectly converted. So we can change this data type. If you want to change this data type, you can change type. So appropriate data type, if it is not giving, basically this is also is a double only. If you want, you can change this to double. A department number is short. So you can cross verify here, is the data types are correctly assigned or not. Okay, so that feasibility we're having. But 90% of the times it is going to give a correct, but if at all, if it is not giving like this, then you can change this data type. Now I'm just going to change the data type here. The commission data type, I'm just going to take double. I just took the double. Let's close this. Once it closes, it is going to visualize the data here itself. So it is refreshing. To execute this, we require this cluster. If you don't have a cluster, then you cannot design, you cannot work with the development. Let's go minimize this. And you can see the data here, right? All the data is available. All the data is available here. That is fine. Now I wanted to add a target. I'm not doing any transformation. I'm taking a source and I'm just going to take a sink. Let me hit on plus to take a sink. So sink is used to load the data. So sink is nothing but a destination in our case. Even we talked about this sink in the copy data activity. You're going to have a source in the copy data activity, and you're also going to have a sink. So here we have a sink to store the data in the target. So I'm just going to take an inline. I always recommend to go with the inline. On data set type. So data set type, I wanted to take it as a parquet. Or let's go with the delimited because I wanted to show your data. A delimited. The reason why I'm taking is I can open my output and I can show you how data is there. So if you want me to show like that, then definitely I need to choose the delimited. But we can also have a different targets. So in general, when you go with the data flow, mostly we're going to take a target as a parquet only. Okay, so for understanding, for demo purpose, I'm just taking a delimited text as a target, so that I can open the file and I can show the data. Let me take a delimited and link service. Let's go to settings. In the settings, we have to specify where exactly your folder is available, where exactly you're going to keep the data. So I wanted to keep my output in the data files. Inside data files, I'm going to have an output folder. Inside in output folder, I wanted to say employee underscore simple pass. It's a name of the folder. It's a name of the folder. Inside the folder, it is going to create a one part file. So let's go for first as a header. I wanted to keep the first as a header. Rest of them you can have as this. Just leave everything default and close this. Now, if you want to run this data flow, we required to run this data flow, we required a pipeline. Okay, so the pipeline should have a data flow activity. So data flow activity is used to execute your data flow. Data flow activity is used to execute your data flow. So let me do that. I'm just going to give the sync name as sync employee. So let's create a pipeline. We know already how we can create a pipeline, right? Let's say new pipeline. So I'm just giving pipeline underscore simple pass. So move on transform. We have seen till now copy activity. Now I'm just going to drag and drop your data flow activity. Just drag and drop here. So once you drag and drop, you can see here settings. In the settings, you have to choose which data flow you wanted to execute it. We already created a data flow, df underscore simple pass. You just take that. And if you want to increase the compute, you can increase it. For practicing, do not go for this because it is, if you are using a free trial, then you can try. But if you're using a paid subscription like me, then go with the small. Now, before running, just see here. Data files. So this is input and this is the output. In output, I don't have even output folder. So once I run this pipeline, then you're going to get it. You're running your data flow by using the data flow activity, and that data flow activity is there in the pipeline. You can run the pipeline only. You cannot run the data flow. You cannot run the data flow directly. To run the data flow, you require a pipeline. So we created a data flow and I'm just going to run it. Still it is in progress. So this Sunday also we are going to have a review session. Okay, so we'll see how much you have practiced. And I wanted to see everyone how we can do incremental loading on file. And I hope most of you already completed incremental loading on database. So how you can do the with the file system, I wanted to see. And make everything ready even with tumbling trigger, but make sure stopping the tumbling trigger. So when you're showing me your screen, then you can start the tumbling trigger. Okay. So to show it, you can create it and stop the tumbling window trigger. Otherwise, every 5 minutes it is going to start. If you give a 5 minutes frequency. Okay. So except the data flow, I'm going to review everything. Now this data flow is done. Just have a look on the target. So let me show it from here. It will be easy to open the file. Data files, output folder. And you can see the folder is created employee underscore simple underscore pass. Inside that I have a part file. Inside that I have a part file. This part file, this naming standard is taken automatically by Data Factory. Basically, when you go for PySpark or when you go for Apache Spark, we are going to have a similar kind of thing. Okay, so this kind of files we are going to have when you go for PySpark or a Databricks, we are going to see. Okay, so how we can keep the data, how we can load the data with PySpark with the Linux operating system with Ubuntu. I'm going to show you how we can do it for data flow transformations. But here also the data flow is going to do the same thing. We are always going to have a folder. We are not going to give a name to the file. Okay, so because this is going to run in a cluster. So cluster means there will be multiple machines. Okay, so multiple machines will be there. When you have a multiple machines, what happens is if they're trying to give a same file name, if system one is giving, let's say this is system one and system two and system three, you just imagine all these three systems are connected together. So that we can call it as a cluster, right? And just giving a brief idea about it, cluster. So if this system gives the name like employee.csv, and this person also gives the same name employee.csv, then file is going to override it. Okay, that's not recommended. Okay, so do not try to keep the same file name. We can keep it in some reasons, but generally we are not going to keep it. We are going to give a part hyphen some ID for this person, some ID for this person, and some ID for this person. Okay, so if you have a three machines or three node clusters, you can have a like basically that is going to decided by the partition wise. If you have a three partitions, then you're going to have a three part files. Okay, so if you have a 10 partitions, then 10 part files will be there. Okay, so keeping the same file name is not recommended in general for data engineering. And if you want to keep it in a single file, yes, we can keep it by collecting all the files together as a single file. So we have a feasibility, but generally we don't do it. So that is what I mean to say here. Let's publish this one. Okay, so one simple pass is completed. The simple pass I'm going to use multiple times in order to do the transformation. Okay, so very first transformation I'm going to talk. That is filter transformation. Filter transformation. So the name itself saying that we are going to filter the data. If my data source is having, let's say I have a data in the data source, 10 years of data is available. Just imagine. So I wanted to take only specific years of data into my target. So I need only last 3 years of data. Last 3 years of data. That means you're giving a restriction. My business is there across the globe, worldwide. But I wanted to take only India region. Then you're not taking all the data. You're restricting it. The process of restricting the data, we can call it as a filter. The process of restricting data, we can call it as a data filtering. So data filtering is one of the very important transformation in the data engineering. So just think about how we can do when you have a data filtering. It's a process of restricting data based on condition. And what are the different ways are there to restrict it? Because we are coming across the data factory to do the transformation. And we're also coming across SQL Server. We're also coming across Databricks, right? So in all the places, you should know about how we can apply a filter. We have seen in a data ingestion, how we can do a filter in data ingestion. Can anyone give the answer? First of all, when we can go for data filtering? In data ingestion, we have seen it. IL, incremental loading, talks about data filtering, right? So if your data source is a SQL, you can write if your data source is a SQL server, we have a feasibility to write a SQL code. While writing SQL code, you can apply a data restriction even with the data ingestion also. We have come across it. Okay, so if data source is a file system, then there is no feasibility. But if your data source is a SQL database or RDBMS, then we have a feasibility to write a SQL code. That is one thing. And other thing is at the time of data flow. At the time of data flow, we can apply data transformation. I mean data filtering. Only this place we have seen a data filtering, first place, and the second is the data flow. At the time of data flow also, we can apply data filtering. And in the Databricks, the third is Databricks. So how we can do with the Databricks, we'll see. The data flow is going to do with the user interface with just clicks. By just doing the clicks, we can do it. But here we are going to do 100% coding. Okay. But I feel Databricks is much more easier than the data flow. Even we are not writing a code here, but still I feel it is much more easier when you compare with the data flow. Now let's go and create one more new data flow. So I'm just going to clone this data flow. Clone it.
Question, can I?
Yeah, please.
Sir, while you are copying data from source to destination using copy data activities, same thing also we are doing in data flow in the first whatever example you have shown.
Yes, same to
But
same.
so my question is, while we are copying using copy data activities, this cluster will come into picture or not?
No.
Okay.
For data
That is what difference between the
exactly. But
okay,
the data ingestion is very faster. It's like a bulk copying kind of activity, that is. Okay, so only thing is this is not going to split the data in partition wise, because automatically it is going to take the partitions, and we can have a multiple part files to process the data parallelly. Okay, so dumping is different and transformation is different. Dumping also is faster. Okay, so we are not doing a transformation, just pushing it. But here we are doing a transformation. So since we are going for transformation, we need a cluster for faster performance. Let me clone this simple pass. Now I'm just going to say df underscore filter. Df underscore filter. So my source is ready and my target is ready here. I wanted to add a transformation in between them. Whenever I wanted to add a transformation in between your source and target, you can find there is a plus symbol. This plus symbol is going to help us to take the various transformations here. So multiple input transformations and multiple output transformations we have categorized here. And we have a schema modifier transformations. We have a row modified transformations, flowlet and destination. So something like this we have row modifier, that means number of rows are going to be changed, right? When you go for filter. So for that reason, it is giving under this row modifier. So no one will ask you what is row modifier. They will ask what is filter transformation. So filter transformation is used to filter the data. So if you want to know more details about this filter activity, you can just hit on learn more. Then it is going to give. You can see filter transformation in mapping data flow. You can see here how we can write the conditions. Okay, so this is how they have given it. Let me show you how we can do it for our requirement. If you want to know this, you can try for this. Filter transformation allows row filtering based on condition. So depends on the condition, we're going to filter the data. And this is equivalent to where clause in SQL servers. In SQL Server, we have a where. This where will be used to filter the data. If you want to make it equal, then we can say this filter transformation is equivalent to where clause. Okay. And let's go and write an expression here. So I wanted to take the data where job equals to manager. Let's go for here. You can see there is an open expression builder. If you want to write the expression as part of data ingestion, we came across add dynamic content. But now it is showing open expression builder. So hit on open expression builder. And here we have a few parts you have to remember. So mostly can feel similar like your add dynamic content. That means data ingestion expression builder. We already come across it. Now here we have a data flow expression builder. So this is the place where we can write an expressions. And this part we are having operators. We have a various operators here. We have a arithmetic operators, we have a comparison operators, and we have a logical operators also. But when you go for activity, add dynamic content, all these are the functions. All operators are functions only. And you can also go for this expression or documentation if you want to see. And I feel this is much, I like this one because we are having a good references. When you go for the functions, we have a function definition and we have a function definition and function syntax also we are having when you go for the functions. So just observe here. When I select these functions, you can say abs. What it is saying? Absolute value of a number. And they have given examples also. Abs of minus 20 is 20. Abs of 10 is going to be 20. So like this for every function, you can say concat. You can see this and that. You can concat multiple text values. We already seen this function as part of for data ingestion. So some functions we covered as part of data ingestion. Some functions we're going to see here. Some functions we're going to see in Databricks. Okay, so if I take you through one function, you have to adapt at least 3 to 5 functions by yourself. Okay, so that is one way to get update with the functions. Another way is at the time of working, you can get to know. Because no one can go through each and every function, you or me. So when the situation comes, then we are going to start thinking about the functions. So here my intention is we have a functions to write the expression. That is what my intention to say here. How we can use the functions depends on the situations we are going to touch the functions. And we have an input schema. Input schema means from which table, like from incoming stream, all the column names are going to show in the schema. Okay, so if you're not aware of the table name, column name while writing the expression, you can take it here. And that is about the input schema. So catch lookup, we'll talk about it. But basically, I don't want to spend much time with the data flow is because we are not using that extensively in the market. Okay, so whatever I'm going to say, that is much more enough for you. So I wanted to write an expression here saying that the job is equivalent to, when the moment I type it, it is going to give an IntelliSense job equals to 2 times we need to write equals. And I wanted to say manager. So manager data, I wanted to take it. Let's hit on save and finish. Now you can see the condition here. Job equals to manager. Let's close this. Now you can see the transformation. And here also you can see the data. Here itself we can see the data for only managers. You can see. Here itself we can validate it. And once you feel everything is fine, then you can create a data flow, or you can create a pipeline to run this data flow. So I wanted to show everything. So let's create a new pipeline. I'm just going to say, just drag and drop your data flow. Let's take a data flow here, df underscore filter. Now we have to run it, right? If you remember, in the target, we have not set the target. I mean to say, the target path is important. So it is pointing to the simple path. So I wanted to say here employee underscore manager. Only this change. Rest of everything is same in the target. Now I'm just going to run my pipeline, pipeline 2. Let's make this name as PL underscore filter. Let's debug it. Let's refresh this. Now it got succeeded. Let's go and check your output. In output, you're going to have a employee underscore manager filter. You can see employee underscore manager. Here I have a file called part file, and you can see the data, which is pointing to only manager. Now I wanted to move the data to the different directions. I wanted to move the data to different directions, saying that I'm having a source. You're having a source, right? So that means employee I'm having. So I wanted to move this file data into 3 different targets. 3 different targets I wanted to take it. One is employee underscore 10, employee underscore 20, employee underscore 30. So 3 targets I wanted to take it, not a single target. My requirement is demanding to move the data into 3 different targets. So if I wanted to load the data into multiple targets, then we have to use the transformation called. We have to use the transformation called conditional split transformation. Conditional split transformation. It takes the data from the employee and it gives the data to employee underscore 10. It gives the data to employee underscore 20 and it gives the data to employee underscore 30. In all the places, we are going to give a condition. The condition I'm just going to give is here it is a department number equals to 10. Here department number equals to 20. Here department number equals to 30. So something like this we can write it. You understand my requirement, right? Any question as of now? Okay then. So let's move on to implementation. So this is my requirement. I wanted to load the data into 3 different targets. So if you want to move the data to the 3 different targets, do you want to move all the data as it is? Basically, we don't move, right? So I'm just going to move, depends on the condition. So that condition we can specify. This is also filter, but you cannot use the filter transformation because filter transformation supports single input and single output. But here, this is a single input. Single input it is. But I need a multiple outputs. So if you need a multiple outputs, then definitely we need to go for conditional split transformation. So let's go and see how we can implement it. Let's go for data flows. So I'm going to create a new data flow, but I always recommend to go with simple pass. I mean, we can clone it. Let's clone it. There is nothing, only source and target is there. So I'm just going to say this one is conditional split. Let's add a transformation in between that is a conditional split here. By using this conditional split, I wanted to apply. Okay, so conditional split transformation supports multiple outputs. It supports multiple outputs. And if you observe here, I have a streams here. So I'm going to have a stream 1. As many streams as you want, you can set up it. And there is a default to stream also. Rows that do not meet any condition. If I have a condition 1, and if I have a condition 2, and condition 3, if any of the condition is not matched, these 3 conditions you are having in a conditional split transformation, and if any of the condition is not matched, that means incoming one record is coming. This record is going to check with the first condition. If condition is succeeded, then it will go into the target. If condition is failed, then it will go to the next condition to check. So second condition, if second condition is satisfied, then it will go to appropriate target. If this is also failed, then it will go to the third condition. So it will check. If this is succeeded, then it will go to the target. If this is also failed, if all 3 conditions are failed, then those records we can capture with the default output. We can capture. We have a feasibility as part of the conditional split, whereas in the filter transformation, we do not have that feasibility. So if you want to capture it, you can keep it. If you want to take out, you can also take out this from here. So I'm just going to show how we can specify the condition here. So condition 1, I'm saying employee and employee 10. It will not allow hyphens. It will not allow any special characters. Just give something like this. And here I'm going to write a condition, open expression builder. It opens the same thing. We already come across this expression builder. So I wanted to say this one is based on the department number equals to 10. Let's save and finish. I wanted to add one more condition. You can see there is a plus symbol. You can add it. Now I wanted to say employee underscore employee 20. I can take a copy and paste it as it is a simple expression. It's a 20. Add one more condition. This is employee 30 and here employee equals to 30. So 3 conditions I'm taking. So I don't want to keep it. If you want to capture the default data, if any of the condition is not matched, then you can keep it. If you're not interested to bring it, then you just take it out. Okay. So once you're done, you just close this. So 3 streams are available now. 3 streams are available. Let's close this. You can see. You're able to hear me, right? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Now 3 output streams are available. Here you can see employee 10, employee 20, and employee 30. So employee 10 is connected to this one. I just wanted to change this. Let's go to the settings. Here I'm going to say employee underscore 10. Something like this. And you have to set up all these 3 targets. 3 syncs are required. I'm just going to take a sync inline. So here I'm going to take a delimited text. Let's go for link service. Let's go for settings. Here data files. Inside data files output folder employee underscore 20. And first as a header. Let's close this. Because I don't have a copy and paste feasibility here. So I'm just going to add them. Let's take a sync. Inline. For delimited text. Repeated steps only. Link service we need to take. Let's go to settings. Data files. And here it is going to be employee underscore 30. First as a header. And close this. Now you understand my point, right? And let me name this as, I think it will allow, let's see if it allows. Sync employee 10. Sync employee 20. Sync employee 30. Now your data flow is ready. If you want to run this data flow, then you need to have a pipeline. Let me create a new pipeline. PL underscore conditional split. I'm just going to take my data flow activity into the pipeline and call your data flow. The data flow name is df underscore conditional split. Now I'm just going to publish this. Let's hit on publish.
Sir, I'm not able to see the screen. Actually, I have joined several times. Even that also, it is not happening. Can you please on share and share once again?
Stop and reset again. Did you join from the mobile?
Yes, sir. Yeah, now it's visible, sir.
Okay. Now let me run this. Let's hit on debug. If you go and see your target, let's refresh it. You can say employee 10, employee 20, 30. If you open employee 10, then you have a one part file here and you can see the data. And if you go for employee 20, you have a 20th department details here. And if you go for employee 30, you have a employee 30 details. Okay, so like this, we can have a data.
Okay, sir. In that output, right? What is that success file also? That success block.
So Spark cluster, or if you go for big data, I mean, when you run a job on cluster, you're going to have a underscore success. Like I mean, apart from this, depends on this success file, other activity is going to start. If there is a underscore success file is located in the folder, then only it will go for other activity to do it.
Okay.
If
For
you have a
suppose,
dependencies.
okay. For suppose if I try to ingest one more file into the same folder, the success folder will modify it. That's it, right? No other success folder will create.
Yes, the same file will be modified. Okay, and another part file will come here. Let me rerun again. Let's see how exactly you're going to have it. Let's re-debug it. If you go and see your target, you can have a one more part file. Okay. Now you can see the success 821. Okay. And I'll give one activity, one task. You just try from your side. So what I'm trying to ask you is, take the same employee CSV file, or you can take any file. Okay. I mean, Parquet file also you can take it, or employee file you can take it. So there's employees are there, right? So employees are joined with different years. Like let's say, for example, some employee may be joined in the year of, I wanted to take year 2021, something like this, and year equals to 2022, and year equals to 2023. So this 2021 will go to one target, and this will go to another target, and this will go to another target. So three different targets I wanted to keep it. This will go to one place, and this will go to another place, and this will go to another place. Okay, so you have to use the conditional split transformation to handle it. Conditional split transformation you can use, and you can keep the data in three different targets. So you can have a folder like employee underscore 2021, employee underscore 2022, something like this. Whatever the year, I'm just giving a rough estimation. I hope these years are there in the CSV file. And 2023. We don't have a year column directly. We don't have a year column directly. In place of that, we have a higher date. Use higher date and try to get the solution for that. Okay, you can try. I mean, if you're not aware of it, you can just try with the Google also. But I need the expectation result is like this. Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir. If the higher data, that means the number of years is more. For example, 10, 15. So in that case,
No,
right?
we don't have that many years in the sample file.
Okay.
Okay, so my intention is how we can write the expression. That is the main intention.
Okay.
Only 3 years data is there, so 3 targets you will get it.
In that case, also even greater than, less than, also we can implement.
Yeah, you can take in that way also you can do it. Okay, so you can try for function also. There is a year function. By using year, you can pass inside that higher date and get the year, and you can say equals to 2021. So that also works. You try. Okay. And next transformation is the next transformation we're going to talk about is, let me create a data flow. df underscore derived column. So derived column transformation, I'm going to take it. So what this derived column transformation is going to do is, it is going to derive the data. Derived column transformation is used to create a new column. So if you want to create a new column, then we are going to use the derived column transformation. Let's say, for example, in my source, I'm going to take an employee table as a source. So this employee table is having 3 columns. Like employee number is there, I'm just giving some column names. Employee name is there and salary is there and commission is there. Like this, I have a few columns. In the target, I wanted to get employee underscore derived, something like this. I'm just going to give some name. So here I have a columns, the same columns. I'm going to take employee number. As it is, this employee number will map to here, employee name and salary, commission. So here I'm going to say total salary or gross salary, anything we can call it as gross salary. So that means this gross salary is not coming from the source. This gross salary is not coming from the source. So when you combine these two values, salary plus commission, then I'm going to get this gross salary. When I add these two numbers, then I'm going to get the gross salary. That means this data point is not available in the data source. In the previous exercises, all the data points are available in the source. If we compare your conditional split and filter transformation, your source columns are equivalent to target columns. Every column is direct mapping. Okay, so this is direct mapping means this employee number is directly mapping to the employee number. Employee name is directly mapping to employee name, and salary is mapping to salary. Commission is mapping to commission, but I don't have a mapping column in the source for my gross salary. Okay, did you understand what I'm trying to say? This is a new data point which is not available in the data source. So if you find any data point which is not directly coming from the data source, then we can call it as an indirect mapping. It's not directly mapping. So how exactly it is mapping indirectly? By combining these two columns. That means by adding these two columns. So if I have a salary is 1000 and commission is 300, then you're going to get 1300 your gross salary. Okay, you got my point, right? How exactly we are going to handle. So let me show you how we can create a new data point. Let's add a source. So this time I'm going to take a Parquet file. Okay. Let's take SRC employee. I'm just going to take a Parquet. Let's take a link service. Go to options and browse the file. Sometimes I feel entering is faster than the browsing. So I used to enter the file name, folder name, and so on. A Parquet file. So you can find our data set. You're going to have all these sample files to practice. I already saved. And just leave everything default. And let's go to projection and import the schema. Let's close this. All data types are perfectly all right. We don't need to change the data types. But if you have a CSV file, then you need to change the data types. Here we don't have a feasibilities to change the data types. Let's close this. Now I'm going to use a transformation called derived column transformation. So schema modifier transformation it is. It is used to create a new columns based on the existed columns, or without existed also we can create it. Let's take a derived column. So I'm just going to say column name is gross salary. And expression we need to build it. Open expression builder. Same expression. Same expression builder, we are having it here. So I'm just going to take salary. I think it is sal. Yeah. Column name is different. Sal and commission. Sal plus commission. Because if you go and see your schema, input schema, you can see here. Column names are different, salary and commission. So since the column, accordingly, we have to take the column names. Let's hit on save and finish.
Sir, if commission is having null values,
Welcome. Let's close this. Now just observe here. If you see the output, then you can feel. So I have a sal is 8,000 and commission is null. So 8,000 plus null. Your expected salary is 8,000, but it is giving null because this null is equivalent to infinity. So something plus nothing is always nothing. So that means infinite. Something plus infinity is always infinity. So it is giving null. So you have to handle this. Okay, we have to handle because every person is not going to get the commission, and if the person is eligible for commission, now if you observe this 1600 plus 300 is getting 1900. So this is correct. Wherever the person is not eligible for commission, there we are getting nulls. So this is wrong. We have to handle it. So how we can handle the nulls? Okay, so we have a two different functions to handle it. We'll see how we can do it in the data flow. Let's open it back. So problem is with the commission. So I'm going to have a function called is null commission. We can have a something like if function if, I guess. Let's write if is null of commission. So if commission is null, my total salary is salary. Else salary plus commission. I'm just using the if function. If commission is null, so is null function is used to check is column value is null or not. Is null function checks is commission is null or not. If it is null, it will say true. If it is true, then I'm saying salary. So for first condition, for first one, we're having 8,000 and null, right? This null will go to here. So it's a null. If it is null, it's a true. If it is true, then salary will be returned. So what is the value of the salary? 8,000. So 8,000 is going to be returned to the gross salary. And we have seen another values also here, that is 1600 and other is 300. So this 300 will go to commission. Okay, so 300 is not a null. So it will say false. So if it is false, then this expression will be executed. So this expression is saying salary plus commission. Salary is what? 1600. Commission is what? 300. So total 1900, you're going to get it. Does everyone understand how we can have a if function in Dataflow? If you remember, we have seen if activity, if condition activity. If condition is satisfied, then do one thing. One block will be executed. If condition is failed, then false block will be executed. This is a true block. This is a true block. And this is a false block. Same to same your if condition activity. Is everyone clear? And this is a condition. Confirm. Any doubt here? Guys, please respond. Able to hear me?
Yes, sir, no doubt.
Okay,
This
perfect.
SAL and SAL plus commission we are giving, right? These are keywords. That means
This one you're saying?
no. This is salary.
Yeah, salary is a
Instead
column names from the table, right?
of
Your voice is
salary, we
breaking.
are writing as SAL.
No.
Yeah, salary is the column name, but we are calling SAL and SAL plus commission, right? Is these are keywords that call the salary, or how we are defining these values? Actually?
See, the salary is a column name. This is a column name. So when you combine all two
Mm.
together, we can say it is an expression. A plus B operation.
That
It's a
is fine,
column
sir.
name.
Sal and com are the exact column name that is present in the file itself.
Exactly. Okay, because of that reason we are using it. You can see the column names somewhere.
For gross salary, we are writing the
Gross salary is the derived column name.
Exactly.
yeah. For that one, we are applying the function like salary plus commission.
Yes,
We are
salary
showing.
plus commission. These are the schema columns that is coming from the input. From the source we are getting, right? So on top of it, we are writing this expression. Let's save and finish and close this. Here you can see sal is a column, commission is a column.
Yeah, I
And
thought
we are writing
SL is I thought it's a salary column, but we are calling instead of salary, we are calling
yeah,
SL.
but because the naming standard in Parquet file, because we changed the file name, right? So there
Yeah.
it is having a sal column and commission column. So based on that, I'm writing the expression. Okay. Now you can see 8,000 plus null is 8,000. 1,600 plus 300 is 1,900. The same expression, instead of going with the if, I can also go for coalescing function. With coalescing function also I can handle it. Let me show you how it will be. Sal plus coalescing function. Inside that, I'm just going to say commission, comma 0. Okay, so if commission is null, then it is going to give a 0. What this coalescing function is going to do is, whatever the column you're passing inside the coalescing, it is checking is this column value is null or not. If column value is null, then 0 is going to be returned. Let's say first record we're having a sal and commission, right? So first record we're having something like 8,000, and here it is a null. So this value will come to here. What is the value of this record? Null. If it is null, it is going to treat this as a 0. So salary is 8,000 plus. Then we have a function here. It is taking a null, and if it is having a null, then 0 will be returned. So here 0 will come, equals to 8,000. And another record we have seen with 1,600 and 300, right? So this commission will come to here. What is the value of this 300? Commission value is not a null, it is a 300. So if it is not null, 1,600 plus, if it is not null, and 300 will be returned. As this number will be returned. Now total you are going to get 1900. So this is how this coalescence function is going to work. This is also is there in Databricks. It is also there in SQL. In many places it is available. So if you know the approach here, then definitely we are going to have a similar kind of things in other places also. Okay. Let me show you. Let's save and finish and close this. Here also you can see the same result. It's executing. You're able to see the same result, right? I'm having a 8,000 plus null is 8,000. 1,600 plus 300, 1,900. So you can verify the data here itself. And it is going to take first 200 rows or something like that. A few records only is going to display here. You can cross verify. If everything is fine, then you can keep a sync and you can load the data into the sync. Okay, is everyone clear? So like this, we can have a transformations. Let me take a sync. Sync employee. Let's go for inline. I'm just taking a delimited text. Let's take a link service. Let's go to settings. So here I'm going to give data files, output. Inside output, I'm just going to give employee underscore derived. Let's say, and in order to run this, we need to have a pipeline to call your data flow. Let's create a new pipeline. PL underscore derived column. Drop your data flow activity and call your data flow. Derived column. That's all. Let's debug it. Okay. Let's debug. If you want to do the same thing in PySpark, how can we do it? And if you want to do the same thing in SQL, how can we do it? We should know about it. Okay, so that we can have a complete idea for each and every tool. Because transformation, as I said, transformation is possible by doing with SQL. That was a very traditional approach. And we can also have a to do with data flow. And we can also do with the PySpark. So if it is a PySpark, how can we do it? And if it is a Databricks, how can we do it? We are going to see. There will be a slight difference you can feel when you compare with the Databricks and PySpark. So PySpark is Apache PySpark. Apache PySpark is different. Databricks is different. But coding point of view, more or less same. Only environment is going to little different. So what is Apache Spark and what is Databricks? We are going to see very soon. We're going to talk about it. Now this is completed. Let's go and check your target. You can see here, employee underscore derived. Open this. Let's go here and preview it. You can see. Oh my God, I think I did not take my target. I mean, first as a header. So this one you have to take. Check this checkbox. Let me remove this. And I'm just going to run it again. Let's run my data flow again. So 3 transformations we have seen today. And tomorrow we are going to see a few more transformations. Taking time. By that time, I'll explain one task for you. Just try from your side. Just keep one CSV file with the customer ID, first name, last name. Okay, so this is the source you can keep. And in the target, I wanted to see the output like this. Target is customer ID, same column name, and first name, last name. And I wanted to see the full name also. You have to define the full name. This full name is not available in the source. Define the full name to get it. You understand my requirement, right? So this is a task 1. And task 2 is reverse it. The task 2 is I have a customer ID and full name. Customer ID and full name, I have it in the source. But in the target, I wanted to say customer ID I required and first full name. Just show the full name also in the target. And I wanted to get the first name from the full name. And I wanted to get the last name also from the full name. Okay, we just try to define it. The answer is with the derived column only can do it. Just try with the derived column so that you can have some idea about the functions. Just try. If you're not able to do it, I'll help you. Okay, is everyone clear what I'm expecting in the task 1 and task 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now your job is done here. Let's go and open the file. Derived. Open it and see the data. Okay. Okay. And one more use case, the third use case I just wanted to give here itself. I have a hire date column, but I wanted to create one column to show the year. I have to create one more column to show a month in the characters like Jan, Feb, March, something like this. So 3 characters of the month I wanted to show it. You just try how can we get year, month from the hire date. Okay, so that is one thing. Clear? And even if you see these values here, I have a mixed case. All are in uppercase here. Here it is having upper and lower case, and here also upper and lower case. These are all uppercase. Make them inconsistent. I wanted to show everything in a uppercase. Here also all the values should be in uppercase. But do not create a new column. I wanted to apply this transformation to the existed column itself. Just try with the derived column. There is an option called existed column. Choose the existed column and apply the transformation, and those things are going to be happen. Okay, so just try this 3 different tasks. So I'm stopping here. If you have any question, you can ask me. And before stopping this, your session, what you have to do is you have to stop the Dataflow debug. Okay, let it publish first. I can close all of them and make sure to switch off this. Okay, if you don't switch off this, 1 more hour you are going to be charged. It was stopped. Okay, so that's all for today. And any question, guys, before stopping?
No, sir.
Okay, then we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining.